So we left off with our ship in the center of the screen, and when I preview this, you'll see that it does absolutely nothing. So if I press my keys, nothing's happening. At some point, we'll learn how to program that action in ourselves, but to get started right away in GDevelop, we can actually use a behavior that is provided. And so I'm going to go over to the Objects menu and click on the three dots here. And I'm going to say Edit Object. You can also do this by clicking on the object, right-clicking. Oops, got to actually click on it and say Edit Object. Either way will work. And so if I go to, well, here's the picture, but I'm going to go to Behaviors now. So up here to the right, Behaviors. No behaviors are added right now. So I'm going to add a behavior for this object, and I want to be able to move it with the keys. So I'm going to use top-down movement, and then we can configure that movement. So if I look at what's set up right now, I see that there's a bunch of settings, and let's try using it exactly the way that it is and see what happens. So if I preview my game, let's use the arrow keys. Well, something's not right. That doesn't look right. And what's going on right now is that it's always going to try to orient the shape to the angle that you're moving. And what that means, normally 0 degrees is to the right in math. And so if I look at which way it's pointing, I'd need to rotate, let's see if I think of this as being straight down, I'd need to rotate 90, 180, 270 to have it pointed over here. I could also go backwards 90 degrees, but I'm going to just use 270. So what I'll do is go back, I'll edit the object, behaviors, and let's set the angle offset to be 270 degrees. And let's see if I got that right. You can always change it if it's not right. So if you get the wrong angle, change it to a different angle and test it out. So let's see what happens when I press to the right. Up, there we go. Up, down, and to the left. Now, the problem is I can just go right off the screen, and that is not what I want. That's very counterintuitive because now I'm coming back, and it takes a long time for it to come back on the screen. So let's go ahead and close out of those previews there. And we're going to add a second behavior. So we're going to add yet another behavior. I'm going to go edit the object, go to behaviors, and I'm going to add another behavior, and I want it to stay on the screen. Now you'll notice that down here at the bottom, I have a stay on screen, but it is something I had to add. It's not actually going to show up in your project to begin with. So you're going to need to go to Search, New Behaviors, click the one you want to add, and say Install. Now I've already done it, so this is just going to reinstall it or update it if it's been corrected or fixed or improved. So now I'm going to choose Stay on Screen, and you'll see that Stay on Screen is now the behavior at the top. So notice here's where one behavior begins, and here's where the next behavior begins. And it's the only options I have for the Stay on Screen behavior are margins along the sides, and I'll show you why that exists. So let's go ahead and preview this and make sure it stays on the screen. So if I go this way, okay, kind of stays on the screen. Go this way. Oh, that stayed on the screen. Go this way. It's a long trip, isn't it? Uh-oh, kind of went off the screen. And if I go down this way, it's actually going to go off the screen too. Now, why is it doing that? What is causing that to happen? Well, the problem we have is that each shape has both a center point and its actual location. And Stay on Screen is using the location of your object. So what I want to do is go update the center and the object so that everything's at the center of my shape. And so I'm going to edit this object. And if I scroll down, you'll see these two boxes down here. One is called Edit Hitboxes. We're not going to mess with that yet. And then the other is called Edit Points. So let's edit the points. And you'll see there's two crosshairs here. This is the center of the shape, what it thinks is the center, okay? And then this is the actual location or the origin of the shape. That's where it actually measures its location. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that location to match up with the center. And I may need to, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. So I may need to zoom in a little bit to be more accurate. Okay. Um, and I thought I could move it, but I guess I can. Oh, there I go. I can scroll. There we go. Okay. And so I'm going to just grab that and try to get it right in the center. And you'll notice that the center is like right at the base of this cross here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that now and apply that. And let's test it now, and you should start to see exactly what's going on. So if I start driving across, notice that it stops right when it gets to the tip of the cross there. If I go up, same thing, stops when it gets to the tip of the cross. And that's because it's actually using the center or the origin of the shape to determine whether it's hit the edge of the screen or not. And that's why we have a margin so that I can force it to stay on the screen. And so what I'll do is go to edit object and I'll go to the behaviors. And I'm going to add a margin here, and how much I should add is based on the size of the shape. So let me look at this. It's two, let's see, we need to actually look at the size of the coordinates here. So I'm gonna double click, by the way, that also allows you to edit it. Okay. And I'm gonna go to the edit the points, and let's look and see where that point actually is. In the Y direction, which is up and down, because it's going to be going forward, it's at 56. So if I made the margin about 60, then it shouldn't go off the screen anymore, because 56 would be from here to here, which should be about the same as from here to here. So let's set the margin to 60. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have shown close that, should I have? So let's set the margin to 60, 60, 60, 60, and let's see if that works. So if I play that, let's see if I can stay on. Oh, yep, I'm on. I'm on. Okay, 60 might have been a little bit too big. Maybe I could have gotten away with 55 or 56, but I'd prefer that it actually stay on the screen. Okay, so now we're on the screen, staying on the screen. And so I think we've got our ship doing just fine. Our ship can sail around. Now notice, kind of has a weird turning behavior, but we can worry about that later. So there's a quick introduction into how you make your sprite be controlled by the player and move around the screen and not leave the screen, because you usually don't want to leave the screen unless it's a scroller type game or something like that. Next time, we'll cover some more things that you can do to improve your game.